What are the top 3 benefits a developer can get out of accountability?
For a developer, the top 3 benefits are:
What is the main core reason a developer struggles with consistent action?
I believe that there is confusion, there is lack of clarity.
That means accountability gets you in an uncomfort zone. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Samar, what's the first sign that tells you that developer is in an accountability crisis?
The first sign is when a developer comes and tells me that my life is fine, everything is going great. Whenever someone says that everything is going great, there is nothing to be done, that's why they are in an accountability crisis.
What challenges do you see with the employees specifically who are working around the developers in context of accountability?
So basically,
वेलकम टू द बिल्ड लेगेसी शो, जहां होती है रियल बात रियल बंदों के साथ. Powered by the Arc Build. Today, I have a very special guest. His name is Samar Solanki. He is India's first accountability coach, an author of a book called Limitless Victory. I'm certain that today's podcast is going to be a revolutionary podcast for every real estate developer when it comes to their accountability for themselves and their team. Without wasting much of the time, I'm going to straightly dive in by asking him, thank you, Samar, for coming in. What exactly is Limitless Victory? I would love to start from there. Over to you.
great. So firstly, I am privileged to be here and getting straight into Limitless Victory. So when I was born, my body was born with cerebral palsy, but not my possibilities. So that's why I've kept my book name as Limitless Victory, because it's all about what's possible, what you think is possible.
Okay. And if you could just dive in your story, that'll be great.
So when I was born, I was born premature, and at that time not enough oxygen went to my brain. As a result, my body developed a condition of cerebral palsy.
Okay.
So what happens is, hands were shaking, legs were shaking. I was not able to hold a pen. So I was fully dependent on my parents. I thought I was bullied at school.
Okay.
But then essentially I decided that I'm going to become independent. And then I basically left India when I was 18, went to Australia and did my own life. And today I'm fully independent, and my body limitations doesn't really stop me. I've converted my disability into my powerful ability, where I coach and make a difference to the developers.
Wow. Amazing. So now when I talk about accountability, what exactly this word means and how did you land it to this accountability?
Great, that's a beautiful question. So accountability for me is, the way I see accountability is, you basically have someone who can hold you accountable for your actions, what you said that you will do, and they just hold you accountable that have you done it or not. And more than anyone else, you are sort of more on self level. You make a declaration and hold yourself to it, rather than getting into any thoughts, feelings, memories, or future.
Awesome. And what do you think, what are the top 3 benefits a developer can get out of accountability?
I think for a developer, the top 3 benefits are: number one, that they are able to finish their projects before timeline.
Okay.
They have a high performing team.
Okay.
And then they can basically ensure that they are able to serve in the best possible way to their clients.
Okay. That's beautiful. So if you could just dive in all 3 of them, that'll be great.
Okay, great. So let me first start by, for the developer, it is important that they increase their profits. And one of the things which comes in the way is the time, because for the developer, they've got so many things to take care of.
Absolutely.
So if they delay a project, there's a cost involved.
Huge cost.
Yes, and that essentially takes away their margin. But now on the flip side, if they finish the project before the timeline, that's why they make the extra margin.
Yes.
So that's one. Number two, for a team normally is very reactive in today's world. So for a developer, it is important that they've got so many things to do, and for them, it is a core need that their team members, it's a proactive team. So accountability really helps to make their team proactive. And the third thing is, developer for me is a creator. To develop means to create. So essentially, they are building projects. So just like mother and father, they are creators. So they've got customers to serve. So now, if they do not serve the customer as per their needs and desires, they cannot deliver. So being accountable really helps them to basically serve the customers in the best possible way with less complaints.
Amazing, amazing. Samar, what actually made you get into the subject of accountability? If you could just dive in that, that'll be great.
Yeah, so that's a very beautiful question. So it's more about taking consistent actions.
Okay.
Taking consistent actions really helps you drive your own accountability. And that's one of my strengths that really made me who I am today. Only taking consistent actions. And when I discovered that for myself, when I can create independence for myself, I can give the same back to the world.
Developers are truly knowledgeable, and you are saying that they are not able to take consistent action, they struggle with that. So, what is the main core reason a developer struggles with consistent action?
Okay, so I believe that there is confusion, there is lack of clarity, and they have got a particular listening about themselves. Because of that, they lack it.
Beautiful, very nice. If you can dive in into that, that'll be great.
Sure. So for the developer, before I dive in, let me share where I stand when it comes to coaching a developer. So I stand for developers to create incredible results for themselves that they think is not possible. Because who I am for developer is a shining light in which I want them to experience their bigness through my work. Because all the developers for me are unique and extraordinary. That's my stand for a developer. Now, for a developer, the first thing, many developers are doing certain things in a certain way. And many a times, being human beings, they get confused what to do next. And that's why they give up. Or if a project fails, then they feel that, oh, it's not possible for me. And they end up in a confusion due to XYZ reasons. But now let me share you, when there is a particular sequence to it, just like when you make paneer butter masala, there's a particular sequence to that.
Correct.
Same way, the first step is confusion. Now, in confusion, if you take consistent action, you then get into clarity. And then, when you take consistent action from a powerful space of clarity, you become confident. And after confidence, in confidence, when you take consistent action, you develop a new listening about yourself. So a developer will develop a new listening about themselves after taking consistent actions in confidence. And then after that, if they keep on taking consistent actions, people around them, their customers, their team, and everyone else will develop a new listening about themselves. So developer develops a new listening about themselves after taking consistent actions.
Awesome.
And
That's
in
amazing.
this, anywhere if they get stopped, that's where there is always a delay, or that's where the limiting beliefs gets developed.
Is accountability as a skill can be developed, or is it a personality trait?
So yes, accountability can always be developed, because see, in order to develop something, so to develop means to create. So creation always happens from nothingness. But
Wow.
that's why it is important. First, in order to develop, you need to come to nothingness. Now, let me dive in for you. So many a times, we as human beings, developers as human beings, they have got the certain thoughts, certain limiting beliefs about themselves which come from the past, and because of that they do things in a certain way. Now, for them to develop accountability, they need to first let go their limiting thought that, hey, this is not possible for me. And that's where I step in and help them out to bring them to nothingness. Imagine a developer. As a developer, imagine that you have to create something. Now, there's a beautiful picture that needs to be painted, and for that, your canvas needs to be empty. If the canvas has got any sort of color, you cannot paint a beautiful picture. So developer needs to first have a blank canvas, which is pure white. So then they can develop anything and everything. And that's the same thing with accountability. Accountability can only be developed by taking consistent actions until it becomes a personality trait.
Awesome. So, Samar, can you explain me with an example that how these limiting beliefs impacts a success of a developer?
How limiting beliefs impact the success of the developer? Okay, so basically, developers are human beings. So at present, many a times people stay with their past. People are living with their past. Developers are living with their past, especially past traumas, past failures, past wrongdoings. And then when you go out, there are a lot of people who are available today who basically give different advice. People will say that listen to this, you don't listen to me, XYZ, or read this books, that books. But that's why there's so much of information available that really confuses a developer. So that's where developer needs to make sure that developer is working with someone as an accountability partner who understands what's important for them, what are their goals, and then that basically helps them and keeps them accountable on their goals. Because a lot of people, for developers, they will say that okay, you do this, you follow this structure and it will happen for you, but no one really digs in and asks the developer what's important for you. Because कहने को तो ये वर्ल्ड है जहाँ पे 8 बिलियन लोग हैं, हर एक पर्सन की अपनी खुद की एक दुनिया है. So there are 8 billion worlds staying on the world.
Correct?
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, definitely yes. Samar, since we are approaching the new year, we are very enthusiastic for setting up new goals. How do you think that accountability can really help a developer to achieve their massive goals which they've set for 2026?
So, firstly, for achieving massive goals through accountability, developer has to be willing to make themselves accountable. Because if they have people around them, if they have a team, and if they are only not willing that I will need to have accountability, then that's why nothing will happen. First thing is to bring that willingness on the table. When they bring the willingness, that's when the magic will happen. That's when they will open the door. So for example, for 2026, if a developer really takes up a target, now that's where being accountable means, and having someone holding them accountable is, they are basically helping them create a future. And in this process, there are certain milestones which need to be achieved. And those milestones only happen by taking actions and taking consistent action. If the developer keeps on thinking or contemplating, or if sometimes developer doesn't even realize that they're procrastinating. And many a times developer go into guilt. They, they look at things from the lens of morality. They make themselves wrong, good, bad, all that. So that's when, if they've got an accountability partner, that partner can bring them on that and remind them of their goals and hold them accountable and keep them in action. So the point is, developer needs to stay in action consistently so that they can achieve their goal. And when I say goal, the goal needs to be an uncomfortable goal. It cannot be a comfortable goal.
That means accountability gets you in an uncomfort zone. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. So accountability can never happen in the comfort zone. Accountability is your gateway to get into an uncomfortable zone. Now, let me give you an example, like a butterfly. Before a butterfly is born, like it's a small insect in the cocoon. When the cocoon opens, the insect will go out and think, oh, it's cold, let me go back in the cocoon. That's the same thing which happens with human beings and developers. Some of the developers don't really go outside the cocoon, or if they go outside, they come back. But they need to go outside again and again, until they flourish into a butterfly.
Wow. Beautifully explained.
Yeah. So accountability is all about creating a new comfort zone for yourself by becoming uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable is the new sexy. That means.
Yes, so you can call it UINS, which is uncomfortable is new sexy for 2026, especially for developers.
Samar, what's the first sign that tells you that developer is in an accountability crisis?
Okay, so that's a beautiful question. The first sign is when a developer comes and tells me that my life is fine, everything is going great. Whenever someone says that everything is going great, there is nothing to be done, that's where they are on accountability crisis. Why? Because it is a human nature of growth. When someone says I'm absolutely fine, they are not growing. They are not growing on the numbers, the team is not growing, and their vision is not growing, and that's where they are actually operating from a comfort zone. They need to make themselves uncomfortable, and that's where I basically do a discovery call basically with them to understand that, okay, what are the areas which are stopping them and why they are saying that yes, everything is fine. And ultimately what happens is it comes out that things are not fine. They're limiting themselves. Their team is reactive. They're not delivering the projects on time, and they don't have happy customers.
Samar, if a developer wants to become a $1 billion organization in next 5 to 10 years, how does accountability really will help them?
Great. So from the lens of accountability, it's not that they want to. They are already a $1 billion organization. So accountability will really put them in action and make them believe that they don't want to. They are already. Accountability will start make them take actions as if they are a $1 billion organization.
Wow.
And that's like with a timeline of 5-10 years. So that's a future that needs to be created. But for that, whatever actions that they are taking right now, accountability will really make them take actions as if they are a $1 billion organization.
Wow. Amazing. I remember a saying that mind truly cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imaginary. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, so basically our mind is trained in such a way that it always gets it gets fascinated as soon as it hears the word imagine. Imagine is taking you in the future.
Correct.
Imagine, but at the same time believe that it is a real. So mind will only accept what you feed the mind. Now, one more thing I want to share is one of the access for a developer to create anything is in the language. So whatever developer is saying, that needs to come in their language without any doubt. It has to be confident, as if it is already there. There is a beautiful saying which I share with my developers is, शब्द वो बीज है जो मन की भूमि पर जब गिरता है तो किसी न किसी रूप में भविष्य में जन्म लेता है. इसीलिए माता ज्ञानियों का आदेश है, बिना सोच विचार करने वाले डेवलपर को पाप लगता है.
Amazing. That's very powerful.
Yes.
Some of many a times when I am sitting with developers, they are comfortable in doing one or two projects. There are certain beliefs which are stopping them to create a bigger picture for themselves, for their organization. What's your take on that?
So the beliefs are always, you need to uncover, or a developer needs to uncover what's beneath that belief. As per me, what's beneath the belief is the story that they are living into. So if they are only doing one or two projects, they are putting themselves in comfort zone, right? And they are just being happy that, okay, I'm delivering things on time, but that is hampering their growth. Let me share an example with you. You must have heard that an elephant tied with a rope, when it is a baby elephant, like it will always stick to that pole. As the elephant will grow, strength will grow, but elephant will never realize what the strength is until the elephant breaks free. So for the developer as well, there are limiting beliefs, which is the ropes. Developer needs to break free, and that's where accountability helps.
Awesome. Can you deep dive exactly where are these limiting beliefs formed from and why is it so important?
Okay, so limiting beliefs. You'll be amazed to hear that limiting beliefs are not even their own beliefs. For developers are human beings. And these beliefs get formed in childhood. So as they are growing up, school teacher, parents, people around, they basically share with them or basically tell them off on something. And when they are told off, that's when the belief gets created. So particular event will happen at a particular time and date, and there is a meaning attached to it. Developer as a human being attaches every meaning to every incident that happens. But what really happens is, then they start living with with that particular meaning. And that's where the limiting beliefs arise. So it is important for a developer to separate the event, what has happened, and the meaning that they have given to that particular event.
Awesome. तो अगर मैं इसको सिंप्लीफाई करूं,
हाँ.
तो आप ये कह रहे हो कि आप हर डेवलपर या हर ह्यूमन की लाइफ में कहीं ना कहीं पास्ट में कोई इंसिडेंट, कोई सिचुएशन, कोई एक्सपीरियंस हुआ, उससे हमने एक मीनिंग ड्रॉ किया. उस मीनिंग को ड्रॉ करके हमने उसी को ही जीना स्टार्ट कर दिया और वो हमारा एक लेंस बन गया दिखने का. आई मीन दैट बिकम्स probably a drishtikon for that particular human. Is that correct?
Correct. And let me simplify it with an example. So basically, कोई भी खिड़की होती है, तो खिड़की के बाहर जब देखते हो तो आपको एक ब्यूटीफुल नज़ारा दिखाई देता है, स्पेशली अगर आप हिल्स में जाते हो.
करेक्ट.
बट उसका मतलब ये नहीं होता है कि बाकी सारी चीज़ें वहाँ पे नहीं है. तो एक जो खिड़की का जो फ्रेम है, वो खिड़की के फ्रेम में बाकी सारी चीज़ों को फिट इन नहीं करना है. आपको हमेशा एज अ डेवलपर, बिकॉज एज अ डेवलपर यू आर अ क्रिएटर, यू नीड टू बेसिकली क्रिएट न्यू फ्रेम्स फॉर एवरी पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन. एंड व्हेन यू क्रिएट न्यू फ्रेम्स, it basically expands your vision. And that really helps you give things to your clients within timelines. It also helps you create a new frame towards your team. It also helps you create new frame towards what's possible. Not out of belief, but out of what is possible for you.
So let me ask you, I often see developers being very busy. In their business, they have a lot of busyness. What could be the biggest belief of a developer behind being busy in their own business?
That's a beautiful point. Now, being busy, that is the point. Are they really hiding behind that busyness? They've got so many tasks to do, but being busy doesn't mean that they are not available. They need to basically look into it, that what's keeping them busy, because developers have got so many people around and so many actions to be done. But if they are saying that they are busy, that means either their team is not performing or they are stuck somewhere and they are not able to find the root cause behind it, or either they are in their thoughts or not really getting a solution to a problem. And that's where a developer needs to uncover, get more clarity. Going back to, they might be confused and they might not be really getting clarity on certain things, and that's why they must be saying that I'm busy into things.
Amazing.
So first, in order to overcome busyness, they need to get clarity, and then it can only happen by taking consistent actions.
You've been focusing a lot on consistent action. What is the difference between a person who is taking consistent action and who's not consistent according to you?
So as per me, person who is not taking action is basically a person who is sitting in their head. And person who is taking action, that is out here. Let me give you an example of cricket, because cricket is a very popular sport here in India. So in cricket, there are players on the field and the people on the fence in the dugout and the people who watches the game of the cricket. So that's called the audience. Now think of it from a developer perspective, that what every person who is involved in the game of cricket, they've got a particular nature. And think, what is the nature? You need to identify that what is the nature of the people involved in cricket. For example, audience have got a nature of commenting on things. They will either comment on things which has happened in the past or what's about to happen in the future. Correct. They will either cheer or they will become sad.
Yes.
Audience being there or not there doesn't really make a difference to the score. Then the people who are on the fence, like players sitting in dugout, coaches and everyone, they basically have got a nature. They will be waiting for things to happen. Or cameraman would be thinking that, okay, what I have captured, whether it is true or not. And now coming to the players. For the players in the game, every action that they take keeps them in present, because that moves the score. Now, player has 50% risk, 50% reward. For a batsman, the reward is hitting 4 or 6. Risk is them getting out. For a bowler, the reward is getting a wicket. And risk is being smashed for a 4 or a 6. Now, as a developer needs to think that whether they are on the field taking action and moving the score, or whether they are just sitting in the audience and looking at things, being a fly on the wall and commenting what has happened or what is about to happen. Because for a developer, the game will only move when a developer is acting as a player, when developer is making the team act as a player. Because if a developer is acting as a player but the team is an audience, it will not move the game. So developer has to ensure that through accountability, they are making themselves a player as well as the team a player, so that they can move the game, so that they can serve in the best possible way.
Awesome. So for a developer, Samar, there are three major things. One is the land acquisition, another is construction, another is selling. Correct? Now, let's say, for example, if the first thing, that is being land acquisition, they have the right experts for that. For construction, they have the right contractors. For the sales, they have right mandate partners, channel partners.
Yeah.
Still, they outsource that function, whether it is construction or being marketing and sales. But yet, many a times, they are working as a spectator. And the set tasks are not being done.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, a developer will only be a spectator, right?
Yeah.
So, how would your theory apply to them?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. So developer is dealing with lot of human beings
Correct.
in all the different aspects. So developer has to make sure that the system is established in such a way that they basically, if they have given task or delegated the task, they have to ensure whether the tasks are being done in a timely manner or not, whether the progress is being made on the task every now and then. If the developer will just sit like a fly on the wall and just wait for the other person but not really take an action to move the game, then they become the audience. So developer has to develop a system in such a way that if they have given tasks to their team or other partners, channel partners, are they really taking the actions? Are they really following up? Are they really giving the updates which are required? Because then only it will move the game.
Beautiful. But many a times, there are so many stakeholders involved. There are so many internal and external teams, consultants, stakeholders being involved into one particular thing, getting through the line, getting to the end eventually. Now, in that case, it becomes very difficult to hold all of them accountable at one time. So, how does your framework works in this case and helps a developer to get the final outcome which they're looking at?
Yeah, so basically accountability, it's not about or taking follow-ups all the time or anything as such, but it's more about what am I doing to really move the game. Because if there are other stakeholders involved and their decision making takes time, that's fine. But at the same time, during that time, what are you really doing? And are you actually taking commitment from the other people to deliver you things on time? Are you actually asking that question, or are you just saying that, hey, get this done? One of the things which always, like, it's a small thing but it has got a bigger impact, is when a developer will delegate the task, they will delegate the task, but they will never ask the other person, by when will you finish it? Right? Timeline is missing, and when the timeline is missing, things get delayed. And that's why they need to take complete responsibility of ensuring that things are getting delivered in the timeline. And for some reason, if the timeline is missing, then developer needs to be proactive in, like, okay, something would have gone wrong. What's wrong? What can I do to help the other person out? So that they basically they receive the work in time.
Samar, what are the important pivots for making accountability successful for a developer?
Okay, so for a successful accountability and the successful pivots, I would call it a PANDA rule.
Okay.
So the first thing is to get clarity on things. For accountability to be successful, developer needs to be clear on what needs to be done. Then the next thing would be the RACI model, application of the RACI model, which I will explain very shortly. Third thing is to timeliness of deliverables. Fourth thing is to ensure that the meetings which are happening in an organization, they are happening in a particular timeline with a set framework, with a set agenda. And though it needs to happen, when a meeting is scheduled, it needs to happen with the required stakeholders. And the fifth thing is to have an accountability coach. And that will really make a difference. It's a pivot 5, pivot PANDA rule that they need to apply.
Awesome. Can you explain can you explain each of them?
Sure. So first thing is to them being developer needs to be very clear on what needs to be done, what are the deliverables, and who is responsible for the deliverables, what is the timeline, and what are the results.
मीन्स आप ये कह रहे हो कि उसका फाइनल गोल क्या है एंड देन उस गोल के माइलस्टोन्स क्या हैं और फिर माइलस्टोन्स के बाद क्या एक्शंस या टास्क्स होने हैं, इसके अंदर पूरी क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए सामने वाले को जो उनको देनी है. दिस इज व्हाट यू मीन?
Yes, absolutely. So in each of these aspects, clarity is very important because clarity अगर नहीं होगी तो पर्सन कंफ्यूज स्टेट में होगा. तो कंफ्यूज स्टेट से एक पर्सन है और दूसरे पर्सन को कंफ्यूज स्टेट से जवाब दे रहा है तो कंफ्यूजन ही बढ़ रहा है. So that needs to be certainty. I would say clarity and certainty, because when a developer is in a space of certainty, they can declare anything and that gets achieved.
Wow. Yeah, Tony Robbins always says clarity is power.
Yes, so clarity is power. So first thing is you need to be certain. You gotta be certain because we all are energy in this universe, and when you are in a confused state, you are releasing that energy. So सबसे पहले certainty में आओ. और अगर confusion भी है तो confusion को भी certainty से declare करो कि मैं confused state में हूँ, और वहाँ पे consistent action लो ताकि आप clarity पे आओ कि भाई मुझे करना क्या है.
Beautiful.
Right.
And the second is RACI, as you told, right?
So with the RACI model, the second one, so R stands for responsibility, A stands for accountability, C stands for consulting, and I stands for information. So R means who is responsible for doing different tasks. A is bringing accountability to each and every action. C basically stands for consulting. So basically, who are the experts in the field? Because when one person cannot do everything, so there needs to be consulting involved with the experts. And I stands for information. What all information is available? What all information is needed? And interpretation of the information.
And who needs to be, let's say, means you're saying who needs to be informed, correct?
Yeah.
Means अगर task हो गया तो who needs to be informed?
Yes, so there has to be a top-down approach and bottom-to-top approach, because a developer is a person who is a single person. Developer cannot be running around like a headless chicken. Developer needs to position himself in the center, and he has to ensure that there is information getting feeded and coming back to him. So now that's where I say developer has to ensure that there is organizational integrity established. Now what I mean by organizational integrity is you develop a system, you implement that system, and you make sure that that system is getting used by the people involved. So developer has to deal with lot of people, lot of stakeholders. Developer has to use the Brahmastra of having organizational integrity.
And the third step?
So the third step is more about the meetings. So ensuring that the meetings are all happening at a given time. So there are different stakeholders involved, and every meeting needs to happen on a given day and at a certain time frame with a particular agenda.
Okay.
If there many a times what happens is people don't go for meetings because they don't have an update. And because of that they go into guilt and they hide away. So people need to show up. Developer has to make sure that everyone shows up. If there is no update, there is no update. And other people have to get involved. What can be done to move the game? So having set meetings in the organization makes a difference.
Awesome. And the fourth you said is timeline.
Yeah, so everything needs to happen by a timeline. On earth, there is a rule: whatever has started will come to an end.
Yes.
But when you do not attach a timeline, it's very vague. So everything needs to have a timeline which is declared. Initially, don't think, ke kaise hoga. Put a timeline to it, because when you put a timeline to it, that makes you think in a different way. For a developer, it is very important with the timeline because that's where the margins are.
Yes.
And if a developer finish 1 year project in 2 years, the cost that is involved in another delay, the interest and everything, that's all the profits gone. But now, if a developer says that, okay, I want to finish 1 year project in 6 months, that will make a developer think, what do I need to do? What action can I take to make that extra margin? And that's why he or she is moving the game.
And what's the fifth one?
Okay, so fifth one is having an accountability coach. So basically, Mahabharat, right? In Mahabharat, Arjun had Shri Krishna. India recently won World Cup. India had Rahul Dravid. Now, a developer needs to have an accountability coach, because developer is the Arjun of his industry, of his work. If he does not have Krishna who can hold him accountable, then the developer will only do things as per their point of view. And that's where the accountability coach, and also a coach who is basically pushing the developer to perform on a high standards, not getting sold out. Accountability coach, if coach gets sold out, he's not a coach. So accountability coach will always push the developer outside the comfort zone, so that this way they grow and they hold them on their barriers and their limiting beliefs.
Wow. So that's the 5-step PANDA framework, according to you, which needs to be
Yeah,
followed.
so that's a I would say, PANDA framework for a developer, that they need to implement it or have it in their life.
Awesome. Awesome. As a developer, many a times I listen this statement, Ankur, we need to go to the persons to chase the information. The information does not comes to us. Now, where is accountability missing in this whole process?
So now, what you said, that we need to go and chase the information.
Yes.
The main thing is why.
Yes.
Why you need to go.
Because
That's
people
what-
don't respond, or people don't feel themselves accountable that I need to tell this information once the work is being done to what person. Maybe that process is missing. I mean, I need your light
Yes.
on it.
So basically, that's where there is confusion and there is lack of clarity. And that's where accountability is required. Because if the people do not know what to feed, when to feed, and who to feed, now that's where they need to be told, and they need to be educated, and they need to be held accountable after being educated, whether they are feeding the right information or not. Because number one, if they don't know what to feed, then you show them what needs to be done. Second, when to feed. They also need to be told when to feed. Third, whom to feed. They also need to be told that. And once they are told, you do not assume. You make sure that they are doing it. So if a developer has to wait for information to come to him, then that will delay the entire process. So developer has to ensure that there is accountability established with the stakeholders, so that the information comes to him in a easiest possible manner and quickest possible manner. If there is no progress, information needs to come, there is no progress. So this way, the developer is accountable for moving the game, moving the score. That's it.
So it's like you are saying that a cricket match happening without a scorecard. Is that what you mean?
Yes, so basically, cricket is considered a gentleman's game. Why? Because there are rules behind it. If there are no rules in the cricket, it will become a Lagan game, like it was shown in movie Lagan. So a developer has to ensure that there are rules established and everyone around is following the rules and being accountable in those rules. So that's where it makes the game even more powerful and even more enjoyable.
Beautiful. Sama, but don't you think so that a developer knows that rules need to be set? He has set also those rules, SOPs, softwares, technology, hierarchies, organization structure. But still, there is a lack of accountability. What's the core reason behind it?
Yeah, so basically, when the rules are set and if there is no accountability, that's why developer is not accountable to himself. There is lack of self accountability. कहने को ताजमहल बनाया है, but actual में वो ताजमहल नहीं है. So developer has to make sure that rules अगर बनाए हैं तो लोग फॉलो कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे, और अगर फॉलो नहीं कर रहे तो क्या कॉन्सिक्वेंस है, व्हाट्स ऑन स्टेक फॉर देम. If people are following the rules, are they actually getting rewarded for following the rules?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right? Now, if I say if a developer is creating the rules of the game, developer has to think, if a rule is broken, my finger will be cut. If developer will think this way, if a developer will put his finger on stake for every rule not followed, I guarantee every rule will be followed because his finger is on stake.
Beautiful. That means, that brings me to a point that accountability is not just for the developer, it is also for the team. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So accountability is for everything, every human being, which includes developer as well as the team. It can be different levels of accountability, right? Because for a team, they are the people with an employee mindset. So there has to be accountability in line with the organization goals, in line with the developer's vision. But for a developer, there has to be accountability that, hey, what vision are you seeing? And are you taking actions in line with the vision? Are you aligning your team? Right, so there has to be accountability for everyone, every single person.
Sama, what challenges do you see with the employees specifically who are working around the developers in context of accountability?
Yeah, so basically, when it comes to developer and their team, now people sometimes forget, people sometimes take team as machines, and that's where the gap is. Every employee is a human being, and every human being have got certain beliefs about themselves. So being accountability really helps them discover what are the limiting beliefs about themselves and make them take action. As soon as the limiting belief alters, they start taking action. And at the same time, with employees in particularly, they have got goals. But accountability means actually showing them that what actions can they take in order to achieve that goals for that particular organization. Because if an employee starts working as a business owner through accountability, then it will make a real difference for them. Now let me share something beautiful. Every human being, every developer, every employee of a developer has got a giant within them. And having an accountability coach really helps you discover that giant within you. When you talk to that giant will see what's possible and make you take that action. And that's where incredible results get caused, not by the excuses.
Nice. That's very powerful. I'm having goosebumps at the moment.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, when I talk specifically about the employees, whenever I have spoken to them, working along with developers, they have their own goals in their mind. and developer has their company goals which are set. There seems to be some inner conflict because he's working for their goal and our developer is working for their goal.
Yeah.
So, how do you see this overall situation, and how do you think that accountability can really help them to bridge this gap and get them to a common goal?
Great, that's a beautiful question. So it's all about the inner conflict. Developer has got his or her inner conflict. Employee have got their own inner conflict. But where is the source of the inner conflict arising from? Because for an employee has always got a goal that I want to become a developer one day. But they forget to see that now that they are working for a developer, that is their training ground to do things and take actions, because that will really help them develop that ability to become a developer. Right? So, through accountability, what I really uncover is for the employee to show them, hey, you are lacking in certain areas. You want to become a developer, then these are some of the actions or skills or competencies you gotta develop in you before you become, or you are on a path of becoming a developer. And that's where through accountability I align their goals and developers goals in such a way that they both are working towards the same goal. Because we don't want employees working in the another direction and developer working in a different direction. And for a developer as well, it's really important to see what's important for his employee. Because if the developer doesn't know what's really important for the employee, then they won't be able to work as a team.
Beautiful. So, we spoke about the employee mindset, we spoke about the inner conflicts. Samar, what behavioral pattern do you identify in teams that consistently makes them feel that they are less powerful?
Can you elaborate that question once again?
Yeah. So, there are certain behavioral patterns, correct, for every human. So, the employees also do have their own behavioral patterns, correct? And with their own behavioral patterns, it leads to delays in the projects.
Yeah.
Or the developer not achieving their goals. So, what behavioral patterns have you identified in the past which makes them the cause in the matter?
Okay, great. So I will come down to one thing. When the employees have got behavior patterns and which delays the projects is the love for the organization.
Wow.
How much do they love? How much is the love for the organization that really changes the game? If they are actually thinking as if I am the owner of the organization, this is my mindset. I am working as a problem solver and I really love the customer. I love the owner. I love the developer. That will change the game.
Wow. And what can a developer do to create this culture of businesses love?
So there is a beautiful book of which is called Business When Businesses Love. So a developer needs to read that book, implement it, and develop that every action that I'm taking, it's out of love.
Wow.
And should not really see employee as an employee. It's a soul which has got knowledge to everything. But at the same time, don't really entertain their behaviors if they are off-track behaviors. I call it on-track behaviors and off-track behaviors. And the most important thing people really forget is the culture. Now, culture is what? Organization culture is what? What you do today becomes the culture tomorrow. So the behavior that you walk past, and if you cannot stand, you need to call that out. So a developer needs to call out the off-track behaviors and reward the on-track behaviors. That really becomes the culture for tomorrow.
Awesome. That's super clear to me. And my next question to you, Samar, would be that does accountability truly helps a developer to achieve a short-term goal, or can they achieve a long-term, a 10, 20-year goal as well?
Absolutely. So, accountability is all about you staying on track for your goals. So, whether it's a short term or long term. So, absolutely. So, accountability will make sure that you are taking actions. And when you are taking actions, you are taking consistent actions. You are not in your thoughts. And for a developer, it is a big cost to be in thoughts and not do any work. So, accountability will ensure that a developer can achieve their short term goals, because that will put them on a path and create momentum for their long term goals.
Amazing, amazing. So let's say, Samar, if a developer wants to begin a journey of setting up the entire framework of accountability, how does he kickstarts?
Mm. So, basically, what I understood was that if a developer wants to kickstart the framework of setting up accountability in the organization, where does he start?
Yes.
Okay. First thing is bring the willingness that yes, accountability is missing. Accept it. Second thing is hold yourself accountable. If you can't hold yourself accountable, get a coach. And once you get a coach, create a plan with your coach. And then get a coach for your team. And get that coach who he or she has created results for themselves, and who really listen to you and not really judge you or judge your people, because judging mindset will not get you to anything. So the first thing is to uh, be willing, make self accountable, and then make the team accountable, and then move the game together.
Awesome. One word which I really heard or which got stuck was listening. How do you think that when you are on accountability calls with your, let's say, business owners or let's say their teams, what is the true importance of listening on these accountability calls?
Okay, that's a very deep question. So now, listening. Let me ask you a question. Are you a father?
Yes.
Great. So now, when your child was born, in few days, were you not able to listen that okay, my child is crying for water. My child is crying because there is pain. My child is crying that there was discomfort. Were you not able to identify it?
Yes. Even
That's
without him or her saying that to me, we
yeah,
were able to identify.
that's listening. So it's
Wow.
all about what you are listening for. So, listening is a space where the other person can share anything and everything without getting judged. So, in my accountability calls with developer and their teams, I do not listen. I hear their complaints, what they are saying, and what are their beliefs. But what I really listen for is what's beneath it,
Wow.
and where it is coming from, and what needs to alter.
Amazing, amazing. And Sama, can you give me certain examples, let's say with developers or working with their teams, wherein you found their limiting beliefs and then when you got beneath it, it really eradicated that belief and made them feel the giant within themselves?
Yeah, great. That's a very powerful question. So, when I will give you a specific example. Recently, I was working with one of the employee of a developer, and it was coming down to selling a premium product. So that person shared with me that I'm not able to achieve my targets. And there was a shift in the product that he was selling. He was in the industry since a very long time. And then he was like, I can't do this. So rather than saying that, hey, you need to take action, do it, it's your job, I really asked him that, okay, where, what is stopping you? And during this process, I really discovered that that employee had a limiting belief about himself, about self-doubt. And that is where what I listened for, and the doubt was getting converted and coming over here in him selling a premium product. Now, firstly, the employee was himself not convinced that I can sell it. And that's where I showed that first you gotta convince yourself that it's a product. It's not a simple product, it's a premium product, but a product is a product. It is your ability to sell that really makes a difference. Then I made him take consistent actions. And that's where eventually he took on the target that, okay, I'm gonna sell multiple of these products in a given month.
Oh, wow.
So that is what I was listening for.
Amazing.
Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Samar, what daily or weekly rituals do you recommend for high accountability?
So basically the rituals is more like taking actions. So taking consistent actions. So ritual will only become when you take consistent actions. So in order to develop a ritual, you need to set a particular goal for yourself that I'm going to do this every single day. And slowly start taking action, develop that ritual. So once again, you are in a confused state, you take consistent action, develop clarity, build confidence, and then you convert that into a ritual or a habit. And you can start small. Start with one or two things that you said that you will do every day and start doing it. Then eventually that will become a ritual that will come in your being. And when that comes into your being, you can shift that into other things. Right? So setting a goal, setting time attached to that goal, and actually doing it on a regular basis. So let me give you an example of a beautiful ritual that a developer, some of my developers do, and I used to do it by myself as well, and I still do it. Like when I work with the teams or when they work with the teams, ritual is saying good morning to everyone as soon as they arrive in office and saying goodbye to everyone in the office when they leave the office. That's a ritual. Like a small thing, but it's a huge impact. Because when one of my developer does that really creates that bond with the people, and he is able to identify through that ritual if someone is down, if someone is not saying good morning or good night in a way that which is a normal way. He is able to identify there is something wrong. So it can be a very small ritual, and then eventually you can expand it.
Amazing. Samar, how do you think a developer can set a tone for accountability without becoming authoritarian?
Yes, so that's very true. So without being authoritative, because when you become authoritative and when you ask someone to do something, it is by force, it is not by choice.
Yes.
So for a developer, it is more about they gotta make their people choose accountability rather than forcing accountability on them. That is by enrolling them and making them say yes, that yes, I am going to play the game of accountability. And when someone will say yes, they will come all in and they will basically involve themselves in accountability rather than getting forced into accountability.
Beautiful. And how do you coach founders who want to make their teams accountable but avoid being themselves accountable to someone?
So what you are saying is like founders making their teams accountable, but they don't want to become accountable.
Yes.
Okay, so as soon as I discover that the founder wants their team accountable but not themselves, First thing I say, no. First, let me make you accountable. Let me give you the taste of accountability. And then comes the team. Because they will not understand what the team is getting if they do not taste the flavor of accountability.
Beautiful.
It can be either through me or anyone else. Like if they get me for their teams, but if they do have an accountability coach, great. Because they exactly know what the team is going through.
Wow. And how do you think that accountability can really help to retain the talent for a developer?
Yeah, so basically, accountability is all about holding people to their goals, to their actions, to their beliefs, holding people to what's possible. And it's a regular touch point with the people. Many a time, people basically, right now, in this new world of AI, people are neglected. And through accountability, it's a touch point. And when people are being heard, they are being checked on regularly, that really improves the trust of the people. And when the trust goes up, people like staying with the organization. People develop love towards that organization.
Wow.
And that's what accountability does. So it's not always like डंडा दे दो या काम करवा दो. It's like प्यार से बात करके समझ के उनको हेल्प कर दो.
Beautiful. Yeah, because eventually the team also wants to do the work. It's not that they have an intention to not do the work, but they have certain beliefs about themselves as that's what you told, right?
Yes.
So to understand, to create a space where they're not being judged,
Yeah.
where they're being given a space where someone is listening to them with more love, care, and empathy.
Yeah.
I think that is something where they can open themselves, and then that coach can really become the cause in the matter and get a shift in them, so that then they are able to take a better responsibility and make that difference, which finally lets them achieve the goal of the overall organization. And in this whole process, he feels or she feels happy. Is that what you mean in gist?
Yes, so let me give you an example. So recently I was working for a company who was doing hiring for a developer,
Okay.
right? And one of the employees shared with me that the hiring is not getting done in a particular way, in a way that the developer wants. So when I really did the work with the employee, I was able to discover that that employee was looking at hiring people. So through accountability, I really made the employees see and put them in a powerful space that it is not the hiring that they are doing. They are growing the company, they are growing the individual, because when they are hiring for a developer, they are putting resource for the developer so the developer can expand their business. And plus for the person, it's a platform to develop their own skills and competencies. So that hiring agency or hiring company was actually putting growth as a primary. So it was not, they were not in the business of hiring, they were actually in a business of growing people and growing organizations.
Wow.
And when that got shifted, they had a conversation with the developer in a very different way, and that changed the entire game. And the way of hiring for a developer completely altered.
That means, Samar, that truly listening to people in your accountability framework expands the viewpoint in a phenomenal way. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. So it's the space that you are listening from.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, when I listen to my developers, I listen to them from a particular space where I give them the space where they can come and share anything and everything. And when I give them that space, so developer provides the same space to their people, and that's where the people feel that yes, I'm being heard.
Samar, how do you help a developer reset after a bad month or a week or a quarter?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. So, for a developer, they've got so many things to take care of. They have to basically take care of timelines, deliverable, profits, everything. Now, at the end of the month, developer is running around like a headless chicken. So, first thing, what I do for a developer is to help them come to nothingness. Number two, acknowledge them for the great work that they have done, that their team has done, where they were causing the matter. Number three, not make them wrong. Help them see what is missing for them, and presence of which would make a difference. Number four, address the giant within them so that giant can create goals for the next month, and then I help them frame their actions. That's what I do with the developers at the start of every month.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Somehow, when accountability is implemented correctly,
Hmm.
how quickly do results show up?
So, when accountability is implemented correctly, it's like you are adding oil to the engine. So, people know what they need to do. They basically, there's a lot of celebration, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of fun, that is a lot of ownership being taken. There is no blaming being happening in the organization, and developer actually comes down to doing the actual thing that they are meant to do, which is to create projects, to create dreams, and they have a high performing team who is proactive and delivering the results for them. So that's what accountability does.
Beautiful. Sabha, how do you think that accountability truly helps to boost the sales and cash flow?
That's a very, very good question. So, accountability is the core of everything. Without a person being self accountable, without a person being accountable or answerable to someone else, how are they going to increase sales? Like, accountability is at the core of everything. In order to get more people normally think that in order to get more sales, I need to go for more customers, more leads and everything. But now they ignore the fact that the people that they are serving, are they actually serving them in the best of their ability? Is my team really giving me 100% or 90% of what they are capable of? And accountability actually brings that out.
Okay.
And accountability really helps the team members of developers actually deliver a green scorecard. When I say green scorecard, that's the numbers, that's the conversion, that's the quality, that's the compliance, everything. And eventually sales become as an output.
Samal, let me ask you, let's say there are 10 sales professionals working with a few pre-sales member and let's say a sales head.
Hmm.
Now, when you get into someone's sales department, how do you apply accountability step by step?
Okay, great. So basically, taking at the situation of a sales head and the sales team of 10 people. So now, when I actually start coaching that team through accountability, the first thing is I actually see that whether what is the level of communication happening between the sales head and the sales agents. Are they actually getting coached? There will be two scenarios. Either the sales team will be doing all the work, or the sales head will be doing all the work. And many a times I find that sales team are not doing anything and sales head is doing everything, running around like a headless chicken. And that's where accountability helps, because I basically hold the sales head accountable to hold their team accountable so that the team is delivering the results. Plus, there has to be a best practice sharing. So, in a team of 10 salespeople, everyone have got strengths. So, whether they are actually leveraging strengths of each other or not. and there has to be no one in a team of 10. Everyone has to perform, not relying on one or two people, because many a times it's only 3 or 4 people who are performing and the rest all are not performing, and there is no one holding them accountable.
Beautiful.
And one more thing is, many a times, and I've seen this in many organizations, especially when I start holding people accountable, is there is always one or two top salesperson who's delivering the results, but they have got massive behavior challenges, and the sales head becomes a victim. I'm not going to talk to this person because what if वो मना कर दे? What
Correct.
if वो results deliver करना बंद कर दे? And that's where I basically hold them accountable to have those difficult conversations so that they show the right behaviors.
Awesome. Amazing. That's so powerful to listen. So, Samar, if I ask you, what's the last piece of advice which you would give to every developer in context of accountability, what would it be?
So my last piece of advice, or I would say the golden nugget for a developer through accountability, is get your projects delivered before time. Enjoy those margins. Have a proactive team who actually deliver results for you, who love working for you. Have those profits into your balance sheet because you deserve it more than anyone else. You deserve it for creating dreams for people. And then just keep on creating more and more goals for yourself and for your customers. Become a growth partner and develop that.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Samar, if someone wants to start working with you, letting you become their accountability coach, what's the first step for that?
Okay, great. So, if someone wants to start working, firstly, it's my privilege to serve humanity and serve the people. In terms of accountability, the first step is for them to have a quick discovery call with me. I understand them, and then basically I share with them what I do, why I do it, and how I do it. And in my work, they need to foresee benefit. If they see the benefit, then we talk further. Because whatever I am giving, it has to be useful to the other person.
Beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Samar, for bringing in so much of light, so much of golden nuggets and wisdom on this unheard word called accountability. I can't believe that for 90 minutes we spoke only on this one word, accountability, and the kind of the depth which I attained today towards this one word, accountability. My own faith, my own, my own beliefs shifted around this whole subject of accountability. So thank you. I really want to thank you for bringing this shift within me, and I'm sure that all the listeners who would have been watching this episode till this end of this podcast, I'm sure you must have got the shift. I'm sure that you must have made a lot of notes, and I again want to thank you. If you've not subscribed to the channel, if you've not shared it with your fellow developers, then do share, because this is what our mission is, to help you grow fast. Thank you once again for watching this episode till the end. God bless and stay happy.